Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to yet another movie review, so I hope you find this one interesting. This movie is a horror film from the United States, English language, released in the year 2015, directed by M. Night Shyamalan, and this movie is called The Visit. So The Visit is about two children. Their mother is a single parent, and she hasn't spoken to her parents in over 15 years. So the children don't know the grandparents. So one day the grandparents say that they want the grandchildren to come over so that they can, basically meet each other. So this is ultimately what's going to happen. They're going to spend a week with their grandparents in a very secluded area, and the young daughter decides that she's going to make a documentary about it. So she's going to carry a camera around, she's going to interview the grandparents, find out about, the upbringing of their mother, and they just see this as a sentimental kind of thing and just a little bit of fun. So they go there for the week, and straight away they notice that the grandparents are a little bit odd. Now, 9:30 is the bedtime, and they make it a very clear rule that after 9:30 they can't go out of their bedrooms. But when they start hearing noises outside, they start to get curious, so they do a little bit of investigating, and they realise that the grandparents have very strange habits after 9:30. So this increasingly becomes more and more bizarre, and this is where the grandchildren start to realise that they're in a very awkward situation, and the situation is only getting more and more uncomfortable. So what that situation is, something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now, my thoughts on The Visit. I can see a lot of people hating this film even before they've seen it, because it seems like the trendy thing to do is to hate M. Night Shyamalan. Now, I don't think M. Night Shyamalan's recent films are anywhere near as bad as a lot of people make it out to be. Now, yes, a lot of his films, such as Lady in the Water, The Happening, they have a lot of problems, but they're not terrible films for the simple fact that they're trying to be creative. Now, this is a director who has balls, he's a director who loves making movies, and he's not going to be put off by public pressure. So a lot of people in the horror world, they're getting sick of generic horror films, they're getting sick of these remakes, but yet when they see something very creative, they're going to slam that as well. So when future directors see that the criticisms that all of these creative films are getting, of course they're going to go to the generic stuff, of course they're going to go to remakes. And so it's kind of a lose-lose situation. So filmmakers like M. Night Shyamalan, I love the fact that he's not put off by that, and that he's making movies because he genuinely likes making movies. So The Happening especially, I actually enjoyed that film. Now, that might be a shock to you, but yes, it did have problems. I thought Mark Wahlberg's acting was quite ordinary. There were some silly moments, but I thought there were some genuinely good moments, and I actually thought they were genuinely suspenseful in some areas. So The Happening is definitely not as bad, in my opinion, as a lot of people make it out to be. So as I said, if you're one of those people who hate M. Night Shyamalan, you're not going to get anything out of The Visit, so don't even bother with it. If you're a person who hates found footage, once again, you're going to criticise this film beyond belief, so don't bother watching it. I don't know why these people who hate found footage see a trailer of a found footage horror film and then complain it's found footage. It's like putting your hand in boiling hot water, knowing it's boiling hot, and complaining that you got burnt. So it doesn't make any sense, so don't even bother if you're going to just criticise it for being a found footage. So all that aside, I thought The Visit is definitely a very, very good horror film. I thought it was thoroughly entertaining. M. Night Shyamalan demonstrates what he is capable of as far as atmosphere is concerned. A lot of people say that this horror film is not scary, but I think that is overlooking the subtleties that the film has. I think this is very atmospheric. It's not reliant on gore or cheap jump scares. There are a few jump scares, but more of it is on the atmosphere and how creepy the subtleties are. So if you don't appreciate that kind of stuff, then yes, you're not going to find the film scary. But for me, it actually made me feel very awkward. I thought the grandparents were by far the best characters, and I thought they were superb in the creepiness. And I thought this is a genuine horror film, but it's a very clean horror film, so it's going to appeal to a wide audience. And there's a lot of implication. There's a lot of things that are implied as opposed to actually seeing what's happening. So your young children might not get it, but older viewers will actually get it, and they'll actually be disturbed by it. I thought this is a very disturbing film without showing too much. So it demonstrates how good M. Night Shyamalan is in the horror genre, and it demonstrates how important he is, especially to American horror that is bombarded with generic remakes. And a lot of people complain about that, but yet people complain when they get something different as well. So there is a horror comedy aspect of it. Now, my problem with The Visit is in the comedy area, which I'll go into a little bit later, but as I said, the horror is superb. It reminded me of campfire stories that I was told as a kid when I was in Cub Scouts. I used to go on a lot of camps, and we used to sit around a fire and we used to tell stories that really creeped us out, very simple stories. And this movie, it reminded me of that childhood sitting around a campfire. So it's a very charming sort of film for me, in that it does take you you back to the childhood. It does take you back to simple storytelling, but storytelling done in a very good way. So the acting was decent. I thought the kids, they grew on me. Initially I thought they'd be very irritating, but they do grow on you. They actually feel like genuine children. Children can be forgiven for being annoying, because basically that's what you do as a child. You annoy people. So I don't know why people expect children in movies to be these really likeable people without being annoying. So you've got to have that annoying element. It kind of excuses the fact that they are annoying. But then, as I said, the grandparents are the best part, and they're very, very good in what they do. The behaviour of these grandparents is getting increasingly stranger, and I just thought there was a very tense and uncomfortable atmosphere. There's a lot of suspense, and there's a lot of very good horror set pieces that were done in a very subtle way. As I said, if you're expecting something very obvious, then maybe The Visit is not for you, but yeah, I really liked that aspect. And then I really liked the way the movie finished. It does go down a very dark corner, and in the end what you get is another very rewarding M. Night Shyamalan experience. Now, my problems with the movie, unfortunately this is not a perfect film, and I think it's down to the comedy aspect of it. Now, there are some moments that genuinely made me laugh, but there are other moments where you think to yourself, it's like the person who tells a funny joke, but then he recycles it over and over, and then after a while you think to yourself, okay, stop, we laughed to start with, but because you're saying it over and over, it's becoming irritating. So it's like, okay, tell another joke. You just don't keep recycling the same stuff, because you become desensitized to it and it becomes a distraction as opposed to something that is supposed to make you laugh. So I didn't like that. I thought that the comedy aspect, although some of it worked, I thought it was very flat. Not flat, but it didn't have a lot. It didn't have a lot up its sleeve. It ran out of ammunition quite quickly, and I thought that in certain aspects of the film it did become a little bit distracting, and I thought that it kind of felt like the comedy aspect of this film was kind of getting in the way of what the movie wanted to be. And what we wanted to be was a good old-fashioned, simple horror film that was told in a very creepy way. So the comedy aspect didn't quite work as well as I wanted it to, but having said that, it is still a fantastic film. A lot of people say this is M. Night Shyamalan's comeback, but I think that he's never left, in my opinion. It's just another indication of how good this filmmaker is. Go out there and see it as soon as you can. I'm going to give The Visit 4 stars. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.